Alright, so welcome back to another section of the 100 days design. So today we're going to be designing a product flyer for AirPod Max. Alright, so we're just going to quickly dive into it. So I'm going to be creating a new file. This new file, I'm going to begin this custom here. That's 1024 by 1024 millimeters. I'm going to create. So now the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start with my background, but before that let's just go through the resources we'll be using today. So for our design today, we'll be using some sets of resources. We'll be using these here. We'll be using we'll be making use of this and this, and also this. Alright, so the first thing we want to do, let me just import some of my resources. Okay, I'll start with this. Let me just drag and drop inside of my Photoshop. Alright, that's one. That's good. Alright, let me just unsee this. Let me drag the other one, this, and drop also. Let me also unsee this, and let me drag the last one. Let me drag and drop. Let me also unsee this. So in the process of designing, any other resources we need, we're going to import them. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a background, right? So I'll come here, and then I'm going to where I have a create new fill adjustment layer. So I'll click on it, and then I'm going to pick gradient. I want a gradient background. I don't just want a solid color background. Okay, so I'll pick gradient, and then I'm going to click here so I can edit the colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, okay, you know what, before I do this, let me just unsee one of these so I can pick my color from here. So let me reduce this a bit. Okay, I think this is okay. Alright, so I'm going to go to my fill and then select gradient. Now my gradient, I'm just going to click here. Now here where I have this color picker here, I'm just going to click on it so I can select the first color. I'm going to, where I have color, I'll come to that color and click on it, and then I can select the color from this, from the AirPod Max I imported. So I'm just going to click on this. So I want the background to have a darker shade of this color and then a lighter shade of it. So just follow me, you understand what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to look for a part of this that has a darker shade of the color. So I'm just going to click, let me say this for instance. I don't want something too dark anyway, so I'm just going to click on this, and then this other part too here. And before that, I'm going to come to this top here and click here so I can increase the opacity. Alright, so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, before that, let me just reduce this a bit. So let me select the color first. So still going to pick here, but I can decide, I can pick an option to reduce it. So let me click on the color here and let me reduce it a bit. Alright, I think this is better. And then I'm going to increase the opacity. Click here, I told you this top part, and then increase the opacity. Okay, and then I'm just going to press OK. Now next thing I want to do, I want it to the start of the gradient, I want it to be radiant and radial. So I'm just going to click on radial. Okay, so the color is going to come from the middle. Now I want the lighter part to be at the middle, so I'm just going to reverse this. Good, and okay. So I'm going to take this to the back because it's the background, right? So I need it to be behind. So it's already popping out. That's one. Now the next thing I want to do, so since I already imported this here, I'm just going to unsee this. I want this to be just directly on the background, so I'm going to increase this a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to send it back so I can just drag here to the back. Now I'm going to drag it and place just on top of this background. Okay, I don't want it behind the background so that I can see what it is I'm doing. Now after dragging to the back, I'm just going to reduce the opacity a bit. Reduce the opacity a bit. We don't need it to be too. Alright, so I think that's okay. Now after reducing the opacity, right here I'm going to add, let me import this. Let me import okay, I'm going to add a shape. Let me just take in a shape. I'm going to add a shape. I want the shape to just be around here, because inside the shape I want to clip I think the cover for this AirPod Max. I want to clip it there, so I'm just going to add the shape right behind this. Okay, so I think around here is okay. I want the color to be white, so I'm just going to change the fill here to white, and then I'm going to, where you have the corners here, we call it radius, I'm just going to increase the radius a bit. Increase it. I don't want it to have sharpened smooth edge, sharpened edges. I want it to have a curved edge. So once I'm done with that, just click. Okay, now I want to send this behind. I don't want it to be in front of my my AirPod Max here. I'm going to send it behind. Just take it, drag it, and just drop right behind the AirPod Max. You see, it's already coming out. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add the name Max. Okay, I'm just going to add the name Max right there. Okay, before I do that, let me edit this a bit. Edit this a bit. Alright, so what I'm going to do there, I'm going to take my, from where I have my fill, I'm just going to click on this and then hue. I want to adjust this color. I don't want to use this exact color here. I want to adjust the color, so I'm just going to click on colorize. Okay, now colorize affects the whole thing on the canvas, so it's very important to take note of that. Colorize. I'm just going to increase this a bit. I want it to, let me increase this a bit. Right, saturation, and then I'm going to adjust this. I think blue. I think this is this. I think this is nice. I think this is nice. Or let's see. Let's adjust. Let's see the other colors that look better. So you can adjust to fit whatever you feel it's best for you. Okay, so I think I'm just going to use this. All right, so now take note. It's very important you take note of this. If I decide to clip this to this layer here, it only affects this layer. That's the layer where I have the AirPod Max. If I don't decide to clip, but now I didn't clip it, so it's affecting everything behind it. So it's very important you take note of that. So if you want it to affect just a particular layer, you have to just clip it to this. If you don't want it to affect just a particular layer alone, you have to unclip it. So it's unclipped now because I want it to affect the whole layer, everything behind this. Right, that's one. Now I'm going to add another layer on top of this, but it's going to be on top the hue and saturation I just added here. The reason being that I want to add something like a light at the corner. Okay, so I want to add a light at the corner. So what I'm going to do here, I've added a layer, right? So I'm just going to go to my brush to select the color of white. I want to be like a white light. Now the color of white, I'm just going to add it at two corners, at this corner here. Let me increase this a bit. I'm going to add it at this corner here and at this corner here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm adding it to that corner. The reason why I'm adding it to that corner is because I want the light to reflect from this angle, from this top here and from this bottom corner here. So that's why I added at those corners. Okay, there's something you need to know. There is when you're working on white and black background, most of the times, whatever saturation, whatever adjustment you're adding, since it's just like a plain color, I'm going to explain this. A universal color, you know, black and white are colors that you cannot just adjust like that. They are not every other color. Every other random color, you can just adjust them the way you want. But when it comes to black and white, they are like Steve colors, the mother and father of them all. So white will not be affected by this hue and saturation. But if I change this to a different color, you see that it's going to be affected. Let me show you what I mean. So if I just take this and I come to my effect here, pick color valley. Once I pick color valley, I just change the color. So let me use green for instance. Now but on the canvas it's showing purple. That hue and saturation has affected it. So that's what I'm trying to say. But when it's on white or black, I think there is no effect on it. So that's what I'm trying to say. So let me just cancel this and let me go back. Okay, so it's white. Now I was just going to take this behind this, right? All right, I've taken it behind my my AirPod Pro Max. Good. So now the next thing I'm going to do here on my AirPod Pro Max, I'm just going to add hue again, but this time I'm going to add a curve, but this time I'm going to increase the curve. I'm going to increase the curve very well. I'm going to increase the curve. Okay, I'm going to increase the curve, and then after increasing the curve, I'm just going to clip it. I'm going to create a clipping mask, and then I'm going to invert it. Control I to invert. I'm going to click on the canvas here and then just Control I to invert. So Control I to invert it. Now the reason why I'm doing that is so that I can clear a particular point where I just want the light to be very visible. Before I do that, let me adjust my let me edit this from camera raw. Just go to camera raw, filter. Let me edit this a bit. It's looking too light. I want it to be darkened a bit, so I'm just going to click on this camera raw, filter, camera raw. Okay, and then so I'm just going to increase the let me reduce the exposure a bit. So looking to try to increase the details. Okay, and okay, so let it take effect. Good. So what I'm going to do now, right on this curve here, I'm just going to, since I've inverted it already, good, so I'm just going to go to my brush tool here. I'm going to reduce the brush tool a bit. Now the brush, I just want to erase a particular part where I want, when I added the curve, it was very bright, very bright. Then I inverted it. Now I just want to use this brush tool to wipe a portion of it where I want the bright light to show. So here my light is reflecting at this point, so of course the light is supposed to reflect on the AirPod Max at this point. So I'm just going to wipe this a bit. Good. Now also at this other corner here, it is there's light showing on this point, so I'm just going to wipe this a bit here so that the light is reflecting here. Okay, I think this is okay. Good. So I think that's okay. Alright, so now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add my text. I want to add my text just across my AirPod Max here. I want to add the text here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to my text and then click. So I'm just going to type Max, M-A-X, Max, and then let me adjust this a bit. Yeah. So I'm just going to increase this a bit to heavy. I can select it. Let me select it. I'm just going to increase this to heavy. Alright, that's good. Now I'm going to draw this. I want it to be behind my AirPod Max here. I'm going to draw this now, and then I'm going to move it behind my AirPod Max. Okay. So also I want people to know what's actually behind it. So I'm just going to duplicate this, reduce the fill, and add a stroke. So this is what I mean. So I'm just going to press, so to duplicate this, I can just press Ctrl J. Okay, I want it to duplicate directly on that same spot, and then this one on top, I'm just going to move it in front of my AirPod Max. Now what I'm going to do to this one, I'm going to add a stroke. Adding a stroke, you can adjust to fit whatever. You can just copy my setting. I think this is okay. You can just use 2, the size of 2. Okay, and then you reduce the fill. So good. This one. That's one. So that's the I'm done with the Max. Now I need to add my AirPod. So I'm just going to add another text again. So here I'm going to type AirPod. So I'm going to reduce this. I'm going to reduce this to just regular should be okay, and I'm going to reduce the size of this. Let me edit this a bit. I think there's capital letter O here. So you to click on this I'm going to raise this and place this here. Now let me raise my marks up a bit. It's looking too far. The AirPod is looking too far from me. So now take note, I have both the marks I copied in front and the one behind. So I'm going to select the two of them to move them together. So to select, just place your hand on control and then you select. You can just use your arrow key to move it up. After selecting, I want to move it. Okay. Select the copy in text at the back. So and then I'm going to move. So I'm just going to move it up. I don't want it to be too far. So now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import. I need something else to import. So I'm just going to go back to my downloads where I have all my resources. I'm going to import. Let's see. I'm going to import this. Now the pack for the AirPod Max. So I'm just going to drag and drop inside of Photoshop. Now take note, this is black, right? Now we're going to have a problem with black since it's black and the color I'm working with at the background is purple. We're going to have a problem with this, but the easiest way we can deal with this, I told you we have a hue and saturation that we added initially that's affecting everything, right? The easiest way we can deal with this is just to drag this behind the hue and saturation. So you seeing? It's going to change it to purple to rhyme with our background here. So after doing that, now if you take note of this, it has a background with it, right? So I'm just going to click on select here and then I'm going to select the subject. Once I select the subject, it's going to select the AirPod itself here, and then to give me an option to separate it from the background. So I'm just going to let this select and the one good. I'm just going to click here where you have your add layer mask. I'm just going to click this and then it's going to separate this from the background. And after separating, I'm just going to convert it to a smart object. Okay, so after converting to smart object, let me raise this up. Now the main idea of adding this is because I want to place it right inside this layer that we added at the back here. This layer right that we have at the back here. So I'm just going to take this that I just imported now down to where I have that rectangle that I imported earlier. Okay, so now the reason I'm doing that is because I want to clip it directly to the rectangle. So once I take it to the back, let me just increase this a bit. After increasing it, now I can clip it. So it just comes to where you have it. Now you right click and then you create clipping marks. Okay, so I've clipped it inside that rectangle. Now it's looking too plain, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to add some of the parts of the AirPod Max that I imported earlier, one of which I imported earlier. So this now, right? So I'm just going to take this. Let me bring it forward. Where I can see it. I'm going to place it here. Now take note, when I'm bringing forward, I'm going to make sure it does not cross this hue here. Remember I told you that everything below this hue here is affected by that color we added, the purple color. So everything behind it will just be working in purple colors. So this here, I'm just going to add this at this corner here. Now let me rotate this. I just want it to come at this corner here. Okay. I think here is okay. So after that, so let me just add a filter now and blur. But the blur I'm going to use in this case now is motion blur. Okay. So I want it to look good. So motion blur, and then I'm going to import another part of the AirPod Pro Max. This here, I'm going to import this into Photoshop. So just like we did with the other one we imported, I'm just going to select and erase the background from it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my select and I'm going to select the subject. So what the select subject does is it selects the AirPod Pro Max itself. So once it's done that, I'm just going to add the layer mask. Guys, I'm going to separate it from the background. Click on this, it's separate. Okay, now I'm going to move this. Let me convert, before I do that, let me convert this to smart object. So converting to smart object, I'm going to move it behind the hue and saturation so it gives it a purple color, right? So I'm just going to increase this, and I'm going to place this here. So let me reduce this, it's too large. I'm going to place this here, and also I'm going to add a filter again, blur, but this time I'm going to add Gaussian blur. Okay, I'm going to click on Gaussian blur. Good. So it's too, I don't want it to be too blurred out, so I think this is okay. So I think this is okay. Now after I'm done with that, now I'm just going to add a shadow on the ground here, on the floor here, to show that this is close to the ground. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to add a layer. Adding a layer, I'm going to pick my brush. Okay, now I'm going to increase, let me pick my brush. I'm going to increase the size of my brush. I'm going to increase the size of my brush. Good. So I'm going to pick the color I want to use. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to take it to a darker part of it. Since I'm talking about shadow, of course what reflects on the floor is going to be a darker color, right? So I'm just going to take it to a darker part of this, and then I'm going to select that. Okay. And then I'll come back to my layer, and then I'm just going to click once on my canvas. Good. So after clicking, I'm just going to adjust this. So to compress, I'm going to press shift and drag and compress. Good. So we're just going to compress this. Let me reduce this here. So let me reduce this a bit. Let me reduce this, and now let me place it right at the middle here. I think this is better. Good. I think this is better. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this and place it behind those parts of the AirPod Max that I blurred out. So I'm going to take it, drag it, and drop it here. I think this is okay. Good. So I'm just going to drop this here, and then this is the end of our design. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to take a screenshot of this. So to take a screenshot of this, just press Shift Ctrl Alt E all together. Once you press this, it's going to take a screenshot. I see my screenshot here, and then I'm going to edit this screenshot canvas. So I'm going to go to my filter, camera raw filter. Okay, so camera raw filter, and then just let it load. So after the camera raw filter has opened, I'm just going to increase the clarity a bit. Good, the clarity a bit. Let's see if I increase the texture. Increasing the texture does not actually add much of effect, so I'm just going to increase the dehaze so that the color pops out more. Increase the dehaze, and then let's maybe increase the vibrance again for the colors, and I think that's good enough. So I'm just going to press OK, and then let it take effect. Good. So this is, let me just open this. So this is our design of the product AirPod Max. Alright, thank you very much for staying to the end of the class. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for staying till now, and I hope you learned one or two. So this is Xpress-Pixels 100 days 100 designs. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.